Hi. Yeah. Here we are, game two between myself and Prince Fox. Um, so I forgot to even appreciate last time because game one I won as the Free Peoples, and that ended a 7 game winning streak for Shadow for me in the tournament. Because I hadn't been part of a game where the Free Peoples won since the Swiss stage. Um, yeah, so that was a weird moment for me. Just like Free Peoples doesn't win. That's not how this works. So anyway, hoping that we can go back to the old trend here for game number two with me as Shadow. So I have New Powers Rising, Ring Racer Abroad, pretty solid, like good cards. Very happy to see those. Fear Fire Foes and I Will Go Alone. That's a pretty cool combo. Like if you have two Palantirs and you don't have much to do, if you've taken even one step forward, you could use two Palantirs to chuck a Hobbit over here and then move them to Bree. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so I do my usual 0 eyes. I roll 1 eye, which is ideal because I don't really like letting them move for free, you know. But obviously, I don't want to put any more in that because you don't want to kill Gandalf and give them Gandalf the White. And he gets a fairly standard roll there as well. So he moves and is safe, as you would expect. I muster Saruman down. He passes. I shuffle some armies. I shuffle them some more. So I put this army in Minas Morgul already, which means I'm doing that the idea that I did last time of the Barad-dûr army kind of coming out this way, because then it could threaten Minas Tirith or Helm's Deep or Lorien. And as discussed before, the downside is that it's a bit inefficient for the Dol Guldur army. It doesn't get to meet up with these armies because it's going to Woodland Realm now. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. It moves the Fellowship again. I get Saruman because at this point now there's no way he can get Gandalf the White, right? Even if he moves again and kills Gandalf, he doesn't have the Will of the West. Even if he has Mirror of Galadriel, it would cost him both his dice to make that Will of the West. So here he moves again, which I was a little surprised by, but I think makes sense. Like you need to run, not walk. Especially because we played both our games back to back. So if you'll remember the end of the last one with a turn 7 Free People's Ring victory and turn 7 Shadow, what would have been a turn 7 Shadow military victory. So I guess he's still feeling like, we got to go fast. But it goes perfectly for him. He gets hit and gets a 3, so he gets to kill Gandalf. And I already put Saruman out, so he's very happy to kill Gandalf. And if he gets a Will of the West next turn, then there's turn 2 Gandalf the White. So I move this army along. He musters Gondor down to war, a reasonable choice because attacking Gondor first is certainly an option. And I draw a card. I could play New Powers Rising, which I think was actually my plan at the beginning of the turn. But then I thought, the decent odds I'm going up here and I'm going to threaten moving towards Rohan. So I don't actually really want to play this right now and tip my hand, really, as to the strength that I have here as well. If I leave it hidden, then it's, then he can't plan around that strength as much. So now that I chose to do that, I should have picked up a strategy card first, but it's not one I would have played anyway, so it doesn't make a difference this time. Okay, so we pick up cards, and let's hope I don't cheat and pick up too many cards again this game. So I pick up Swarm of Bats and Durin's Bane. Fantastic cards. Very happy to see those as well. He gets Help Unlooked For and Smeagol Helps Nice Master. Decent cards too. So the fact that I have Balrog in hand and the Fellowship's on step 3, like if he moves and doesn't get revealed, then I could play it and I could maybe use it for the corruption, but I'm probably just going to go get Lorien and use this as a combat card. Like when you have this in hand, that makes the potential of just blowing up Lorien really fast it's very satisfying when you get to it anyway. So I'm very happy with this roll. I had to allocate 1 eye because they moved, and then I rolled 0 eyes, and it's a bummer that he got a Will of the West to get Gandalf, but no movement aside from that against 1 eye is very good news for me. That means I can get a lot done militarily while he's not going to get much done in regards to the Fellowship. So I muster Sauron down, and then I muster an elite in Dol Guldur because I don't have any cards that are going to help make this army stronger. And I'm a big fan of just straight up mustering elites before you move out anywhere really, because not only do they help you like your army's tougher, but you can also press an attack. So it's essentially you're still getting to use it as an attack die It's just spring-loaded, if that makes sense. And of course, it also makes the We Come to Kill cards a much more powerful combat card. That being said, should I use then these hybrid dice to muster elites if I really think it's that good? Probably not, because you do need to hurry up and attack. 1 second. Okay, now we're back. So he passes. I continue my army shuffling. I decided to start moving out with this army because, I don't know, like I have these other half movements and I do want to get moving. I don't want to spend the whole game just waiting around, and especially if I do move towards Lorien, because he has all these H's, so I'm expecting Rohan to be well defended by the time I get there. So I'm planning on heading this way anyway, and I don't want him to muster up the elves too much while I'm just sitting around, So anyway, so he uses an H to put a regular there and a regular there, which makes sense. Like he wouldn't want to let me just walk in and take Minas Tirith. I continue walking along. He brings in Gandalf the White, which I think makes sense. Like, you don't know exactly where I'm going, so you want to not invest your resources yet. So I attack Old Forest Road, and I use Swarm of Bats in case he has scouts, which he doesn't. So he doesn't play a card. That makes sense. I get him. It's about average. And then he moves that regular to Withered Heath and the Rohan units there, which is reasonable. Because I guess this way I can't use the character die to attack Dale and then use this to bring in the Witch King. Because if I attack Dale, the attack on the unit and conquering Dale would bring them down 2 steps, and I'd get the Witch King. So this way I could still do it. I can use this to take both spots, and then I could use the ring on the character die to bring in the Witch King, but that way he's making me pay a ring for it. And also, of course, if I get the North to war and I don't do something about this guy, then next turn he can move these guys into Woodland Realm. So I think that's a decent move. So I decide to, take them while they're free before King Brand or did he have King Brand? No, he had Fear Fire Foes. That's right. Before King Brand or Grimbeorn shows up and makes my life more difficult. So he musters the elves down a step, which I think makes sense. I was a little surprised that he didn't move the Fellowship. Like, I know using 2 rings by turn 2 feels bad, but at the same time, not moving at all against one eye is that feels bad too. So I don't know. I mean, mustering the elves down is still entirely worth doing. So anyway, so I decided to attack Withered Heath because he didn't use a card before, so I'm hoping he just actually doesn't have scouts. There's a chance that he didn't play it because he saw me play a strategy card and was saving it for a situation more like this. So I decided, I was hoping that he doesn't have scouts and I'm just going to kill him. So I was very relieved to see the no card, and I get him, and he does get a hit back. So anyway, that was maybe a waste of an attack. Oh, and now he picks up King Brand's men. Oh, classic. This game is so savage like that. What was I thinking? I don't know. My thoughts are gone. Right. So his moving aside there is arguably worth it because he did at least waste one of my dice. So that's something. Also because if I hadn't done that, then he might have gotten these guys in. Yeah. And of course, he also delayed the Witch King from me for a round, so that's also an upside of playing it like that. So he moves and he gets hit, and it's another 3. So I draw, and Legolas dies. Okay, so with this strategy, I like to take these 10 regulars, and I like to put them in Dagger Lad. It does make me rather vulnerable to Free People's military sneak-ins, but I don't know. Usually those just don't work. So, I mean, like, obviously there's a chance of an apocalyptic roll, but I like having this army ready to come down and help fight for Pelargir or Minas Tirith or going up north. So just walking up to Dagger Lad is slightly more inefficient. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you're going to Minas Tirith that way, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Never mind, it's the same. So yeah, always moving that army to Dagger Lad. If you're going to bring it out to do anything, putting it in Dagger Lad is the way to go. Anyway. Okay, so he passes. Now I play New Power is Rising. Right, because I kind of want to put the pressure on Rohan, because he has these 2 musters, so he can either muster the elves down once, and then if I attack either one of these strongholds, then the elves go to war and he can muster an elite in the other one. Or he can muster Rohan down a step, and then if I attack, then Rohan's all the way to war, and then he can muster another elite in Helm's Deep. So I'm kind of just putting the pressure on a little bit more with that. And he chooses to muster Rohan down, which is not an unreasonable choice. I decided to bring in the Witch King first, just because I think either way I want it here, and I'm forcing him to choose to spend his resources first. So he just plays Smeagol Helps Nice Master. That makes sense. Okay, so I attack Woodland Realm. Still not showing which way I'm going. So they move again and they're safe. That's a little bit of a bummer to me. So now I use the ring here to move armies twice. I'd originally been planning on using Ring Wraiths Are Abroad, but that just felt like a waste when the Fellowship. The Fellowship's not revealed for me to put Nazgul on, and this is already enough Nazgul strength, so the moving Nazgul around part felt like it was going to be kind of wasted. So I thought I might as well use a ring now so I can get this extra army movement too. I mean, I guess I could have done that with Ring Wraiths too. Maybe I should have just played that card. Oh well. Okay, so he musters Gondor to war, and I attack Lorien. Just in case he picked up power too great. Might as well get it under siege sooner rather than later. Okay. Let's see. I throw out Threats and Promises, which makes sense. That card is useless as an event, and Devilry Vorthank isn't immediately playable. So, okay, he chucks. I will go alone out of those. I think that makes sense. That's a little bit sad. Oh, no, I guess there's no point in playing Fear Fire Foes anymore, so that combo doesn't really work. Now he has a Scouts in hand, too. That helps. Yeah, I think also mustering Rohan down makes even more sense when you don't have a Scouts. Like, if you have a Scouts and you can Scouts away to Helm's Deep, that would help a lot. But if you don't have a Scouts and this army might just get entirely blown up, then mustering down so you can bring in another elite makes even more sense. Okay, so I roll 3 more eyes, so that's frustrating. So he moves, and at least I hit him. If you're rolling an obnoxious amount of eyes, even though you're not going to get much done militarily, you should at least hit them. It's even worse if you don't hit them, then it really feels like the game just stole a turn from you. So they get revealed on step 6. They go to East Emnet. I think that makes sense. They draw an eye, so they're doing fantastic in terms of corruption health. They've got negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if you count companions directly anyway. So I muster the Southrons down. He hides. I attack Lorien. And obviously I lead with the Balrog card because this is the only place it's going to be usable. So if I do happen to blow them up in one shot, I'd hate to use a different card first than not be able to use this. So I only got 1 hit, so that's slightly bad luck, but oh well. And then I get 0 hits, and he gets 2 hits back, so that's a little disheartening. So I choose to press anyway because I feel like the hit point advantage is still enough that I might as well try to go fast. So I play, that's right, Desperate Battle in the Shield Wall here. And I get 3 hits that were all 6s, so I didn't need to play that card anyway, but oh well, here we are. And he gets 2 hits back. So a good Shield Wall. That helps for sure. And he separates Strider, which is a subject of much debate. It's certainly not an unreasonable choice here. Personally, I think I would have just kept moving because the Fellowship was in such good health. But you can crown him right now, and my army's too far away, so I can't put him under siege this turn. So it's certainly a reasonable choice. Yeah. Anyway, so now I muster the Southrons down the last bit of the way. He crowns Aragorn. I attack Lorien again. And I use They Are Terrible, so I'll only have 3 leadership to re-roll with, but I don't know, that still seems okay to me. So I get 2 more hits into another perfectly played shield wall. He gets 0 hits back. So that scared the crap out of me when he played that, putting this regular in Minas Morgul. but I like go back and check, like, yes, he was in Osgiliath, so like he just misclicked putting it there. But I was wondering, like, did he get to retreat or move somewhere when I wasn't paying attention, and I just totally missed that, because that was going to feel really stupid. Yeah. So this was part of the plan as well. I was kind of holding off on playing with this last Palantir, because I thought, that he might crown Aragorn this turn. So I get to play the King is Revealed anyway, which is a solid defense for Minas Morgul against this guy. That's another. I'm not sure if I should quite say a plus side, but a little bit of a plus side, I guess, for this strategy where one army goes rampaging off this way and the other army goes north too. Leaving Mordor empty, it makes cards like the King is Revealed or Musterings of Long Planned War, cards that oftentimes aren't that useful for the event, now come in useful because, now you can use this army and still have something here to defend. Anyway, so. Okay. So now I pick up Day Without Dawn. So if I'd had Day Without Dawn, maybe I would have mustered down more last turn. I don't know. Imra Hill, Horn of Gondor. Okay. So he switches guides. Interesting. Yeah, no, okay, that does make sense, yeah. Okay, so he moves the Fellowship first. It is safe. I attack Lorien. I get all 2 6s. So we finish Lorien. So that doesn't feel amazing that I'm on turn 5 and I'm only just getting to 3 points. Like, that's not terrible. Like, Woodland Realm is under siege and it didn't get any help. But it's not great, though. So he plays Horn of Gondor. Yeah, makes sense. I get very happy. This is my favorite full use of Ring Wraiths or Broad or Black Captain commands. You get to put one Nazgul on the Fellowship, pivot with Nazgul, and start an attack somewhere else. So I use a Sealder's Bane because the Fellowship's in such good health that I'm really not planning on winning with corruption. The plan is still military. Let's see, I get just a 1 hit, so that feels bad. It is 2. Some weird clicks happen there. Anyway, he moves again, he gets hit, 0 reveal. And now I'm mustering up more elites because especially after a fairly poor start to Woodland Realm, gonna need backup here for finishing off Erebor. I'm gonna strap a couple of Oliphants. He hides. I get that army together. And he brings in the dwarf and comes to threaten Dol Guldur, which I don't know. I can't remember what I do about that. He chooses to move him there instead. I decide to let him, if he wants to, at the start of next turn, he can invade Dol Guldur. Because I think he's not really posing much threat elsewhere. Like, I also just left Moria open, but I don't know. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. And I pick up Cruel Weather and Olokai, which after I picked them up, I reflected that might actually have been the perfect pair of cards to pick up. Clearly, Cruel Weather right before the Fellowship's about to get into Mordor is perfect. Can't ask for better. And Olokai is a perfect card to help reinforce Woodland Realm to try and finish it off. What did I check? Redless Eye, of course, yeah. And he chucks Gwai here, which is reasonable. I don't know. I would have been tempted to keep Gwai here because that's a nice card for last ditch throwing Gandalf into a stronghold at the end of the game. But of course, these other cards are good too. So yeah, a tough call. And I roll another turn of just all eyes, so that's frustrating. That was. I remember sitting here just being a little bit grumpy because I felt like there was a chance this game just slipped away from me on those last 2 turns because I couldn't keep up the military speed. So he moves and he's safe. So that's frustrating. Like I was just saying, like rolling all eyes isn't that bad if you hit them. And here with 5 eyes instead of 4, then I missed him. But at least this way he isn't revealed, so I can play Cruel Weather. So that's something. Because if he'd gotten revealed and then hid and then moved again with a ring and got revealed, then I would have had no opportunity to play Cruel Weather. So So that helps anyway. And he moves again, which I found a bit surprising. Against Five Eyes, I might have thought that he would just wait. But I guess if he doesn't get revealed, then he can move with a ring again and make it into Mordor. You're probably going to take some damage, and maybe I don't know. So of course he does get hit, and he got hit 3 times. So I was really hoping to draw an eye, but draws a 1, so he takes Horn of Gondor, which makes perfect sense. So now I muster here, which I don't know, might be stupid, but it's just that he had 3 H's before. He has 3 H's here, so like this army coming down and getting into Moria is a thing. Like I know I could move this army into Moria, and leaving Rivendell empty is dumb, but it just felt dumb. Like if I am going to let him walk into Dol Guldur, and some other time he tries to walk towards this, then I'm gonna have to spend a die to muster and defend there anyway. So I might as well use one now to defend both at the same time, then wait and use a die to just defend one of them. So anyway. So he musters Rohan down. I pass. He uses a ring to move again and gets hit and gets revealed. So 0 reveal into a 3. So he takes Boromir and 1 damage, which makes perfect sense. And I play Morgul Wound here because I don't know. Like the Fellowship's still in reasonable health, but you getting the whole 2 corruption points for it, I think, is still worthwhile. And my military is slowed down enough that I feel like I should put on some corruption pressure. Yeah, it feels a little silly now that I used Isildur Spain as a combat card now, but oh well. You gotta play the game as it comes. And he plays Mithril Coat, so that's scary. I put Erebor under siege, and he musters Rohan down to war. There we go. Okay, so turn 7, he's starting in Mordor, and I'm only at 3 points. So that's like, and as I've said in other games, the points isn't always indicative of how close you actually are to winning, because I do have Woodland Realm under siege and Erebor under siege, and both these armies are probably strong enough to take them out. So in a sense, I'm a little closer to 7 points. But then obviously I still need 3 more points, and I'm not really that close to those 3 points. So anyway, so he hides. I play The Ring Is Mine because I did the math for a little bit, and I don't think there was any way I was going to win this turn. So I might as well throw that red tile in there. It might make his life a lot worse anyway. So he gets a 2, so that's perfect for him. And I play Candles here because if he uses a ring to move again, there's a lot of cards in there that would do 2 damage. Like the eyes all do 2 damage. Those 2 do 2s, of course. So then he'd be down to Gollum, and then this card's a lot less powerful. So, like, you definitely want to play it while you still hit on 4s and 5s. And I get 2 hits with it. So that feels good. I think if you are going to do the corruption play, well, no, I guess to me, there's 2 levels of corruption play that makes sense. There's one where the Fellowship is in Mordor, and your military is so far behind that you're just chucking in as many eyes as you can and just committing to that 100%. And then the other way is committing to it like 10%. And I think playing cards like Morgul Wound and Candles of Corpses are the ideal way to do that, because I just got 4 corruption out of 2 dice, you know? So it's a little investment that has a huge impact on the corruption anyway. Like only investing in the more potent ways anyway. Like playing Flocks of Crabine, that seems to me more like investing a whole die for a lot less power anyway. So he starts mustering in Rohan, which makes sense. You know, I brought these guys down, so it's looking like I'm gonna unleash a lot of troops against them. And especially like after I conquer these, I need 3 more points. Rohan is a perfect, cute little basket of 3 points. So I debated what to do with this Shadows on the Misty Mountains card, because playing it and then joining these armies together to go get Rivendell would be cute. But I decided that if using the Onslaught here means I don't need to spend a die playing Olog High, because I don't have any other convenient Palantirs to do that with. And there's a solid chance that I can just finish these guys off with a good Onslaught right here. He plays Daylight, though, which is a bummer. So I get 1 hit anyway, which is the average, what you'd expect. He gets 0 back, which is actually huge for me, because then I have 4 regulars left to dunk on this. So 4 dice, all hitting at 50-50. I only need 1 hit, so I get it. I got the 2, which is average. So that works out perfectly. I get to finish off Woodland Realm relatively quickly. So then I bring in the Mouth. I also debated for a while about where to bring him in. Because if I am going to go after Rohan, Actually, never mind. This is clearly the correct choice, because if I'm going to go after Rohan, then Dol Guldur, Moria, and Minas Morgul are all equally close. They're all 2 movements away. Anyway, like either 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you're there, or 1, 2, 3, 1, and you're there. I suppose you could maybe, from Dol Guldur or Moria, if you happen to walk 3 and join up with an army in like West Emnet or Fangorn or Gap of Rohan, then maybe you're saving yourself a movement. But anyway, I'm half expecting this army to go and do something here. Oh, right. My other thought, I was also very much so considering the 4 cities method. So like this army's going to go get Edoras, this one's going to get Pelargir, and this one's going to go get the Shire. And then I just need to finish off Erebor, and there you go. So I guess the mouth is here. I guess in case Strider comes and hits with dead men and I need backup, that way this guy's here with that army. I think that's what I was thinking. So he musters in Dol Amroth. Makes sense, in case I have Corsairs. So I start moving these orcs down because, yeah, I'm worried about dead men. So, well, you'll see what I do anyway. He draws a card, which is reasonable. Yeah, none of these are particular. He could play Spirit of Mordor there, or Red Arrow, or Imrahil. None of those are amazing, though. No. And drawing a card to get to cards like, There Is Another Way, or Bilbo's Song, because suddenly corruption is an issue. So drawing cards certainly is a good choice. So I was going to move there, but then I remembered it usually makes more sense to move here, because here you threaten Rivendell, and you're still making just as much progress to the Shire. So it's like why commit before you have to, if there's no benefit to you, or maybe that way is faster Graven. 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if you're going to go for Grey Havens, then it might make more sense to go to Cardolan first. But I was mainly just planning on going to the Shire and just threatening Rivendell for the heck of it. So he musters up in Minas Tirith, seeing that I walked this army into Osgiliath. And I attack Minas Tirith here, after much debate in my head anyway. And the main reason is I thought he might stay for a field battle, but I was expecting him to go into a siege. And I was going to hold him there just so that Aragorn can't get out and play Dead Men of Dunharrow. Just so that this army can go and sit on Pelargir and be safe. That was the whole point. And then next turn, hopefully I roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like all I need is 5 attacking dice. And then I can get those cities. Oh, no, right. And I'd still need to finish Erebor. Never mind. Still might be able to pull that off in one turn next turn. That's not unreasonable. But he stays for a field battle, and I play no card because, I don't know, I was worried about another daylight or advantageous position, so I was kind of hoping he was going to burn through a defensive card first, and then I'd play Deadly Strife and weaken this army significantly. But he plays no quarter first, because obviously I have to declare my card first, so that makes sense. So I get 2 hits, which is slightly above average, I think. And he gets 3 + 1, 4 hits. I think that's about average too with the no quarter. So he's looking like that, and I'm thinking he probably has Guards of the Citadel. Turns out he didn't, but I thought he did at the time, taking away that elite. Of course, you have Aragorn, who's a Captain of the West, so you're still rolling 5 dice. Okay, so I decided to press because now I can play Deadly Strife, and this army in Osgiliath is totally going to get murdered, but there's a chance I just do 5 hits back and I kill Aragorn right now. Or if not, then this army's going to be so weak that maybe these Oliphants can come up and finish him off. So he stays for another round. And now he plays Imrahil for the shield wall, which I think makes sense. Because obviously I had to declare that I was playing a card first. And I play my Deadly Strife. And now I roll all the 6s. So the Deadly Strife only gained me 1 hit. So I get 4 and he gets 4, but he had a shield wall. So he takes 3 hits and I take 4. And I stop. Maybe this orc could have gotten another hit, but I wanted to leave him there partially to make his life more inconvenient. But in case I pick up one of the Shadows Gather cards, then I can bring this army in a lot quicker. But I don't. I pick up Rage the Dunlendings instead, and Grond. So Grond is huge here. So that's what I roll, and that's what he rolls. And at this point, I feel like I'm going to lose the game because that's a lot of movement for him, and this is probably not enough to win the game. I did the math and thought about, like, there were a couple ways where I might win the game this turn, but it relied on either this army. I think it relied on this army with Gron taking out Rivendell on one shot, and this army with just some Nazgul, no Witch King, taking out Erebor one shot too. Anyway, he uses the Will of the West to muster up in Minas Tirith and Westham then, which is reasonable because obviously you're afraid of Day Without Dawn, so you want to use it first. I think I might have been tempted to run if I were him. Well, let's look at the hunt pool. Oh, maybe that wasn't. Yeah, maybe he's right to do that because there are 5 eyes in there. It's 50% odds of getting hit with an eye, which is 3 damage, right? So then hobbits are gone. You're down to Gollum, 8 corruption revealed on step 2. So, yeah, that's not amazing. That's just my gut instinct is to sprint anyway. Maybe he could have used it to play Elven Rope instead, just to make his odds a little bit better. He does have Mithril Coat, so that's something. Anyway, he musters, and after thinking, this game had also been going really fast until this turn. Then I started taking like a long time to do a bunch of calculations and think things through anyway. So I move towards Minas Tirith and towards Rivendell at the same time, which I hadn't been planning on doing. But now that he only has the one muster, now it's kind of forcing him to pick between either mustering an elite there or mustering an elite there. Or I suppose you could put a regular in each. Yeah, there is an Elven regular to muster, so you could do that too. But there's no Kindred of Glorfindel, and there's no Guards of the Citadel, so that Palantir isn't going to help him in hindsight. So he uses an elite to muster Rivendell, which I think is the better call of the two. Because between, 2 elites surviving against 8 regulars or 3 regulars, but with Aragorn surviving against, it's tough. But this army was also further away, so that gives him time to, after he musters there, I officially give up on taking Rivendell this turn. So I'm splitting my Nazgul between these two, and the plan is Minas Tirith and Erebor, and probably Pelargir, or I don't know, maybe the Shire, or even Edris, one of those two anyway. So he uses the Mirror of Galadriel to turn that character into a W. And actually, maybe I could have played Day Without Dawn here. Maybe I should have actually. But at the moment, I was just happy that he wasn't going to be using that character for moving then. He's going to be using it for mustering, so I didn't even consider it. But I think I actually should have played Day Without Dawn. That would have made this siege a lot easier. So this army comes right back the way it came because I'm giving up on Rivendell and going to get the Shire. He musters an elite in Minas Tirith, which makes sense. I attack Minas Tirith. Now he plays Elven Rope. And I debated for a bit about what to do here because I have Grond, but because there's a companion, he can still play a card on the first round of the turn. So I decide that I'm going to take it a little bit slower for the redraw's sake and hope to pull it off anyway. So I attack Minas Tirith, and I think I'm playing We Come to Kill. Nope, Relentless Assault. Okay. And he nicely plays advantageous position into it. So I don't take any hits. I roll 1-6, just slightly below average. He gets 2 hits back. But that's okay. Oh, no, right. I remember what the plan was now. So now he moves, and he gets the blue tile that he just put in. So that was that's a depressing moment for me for sure. So now I play Oleg High because I really want to finish off Minas Tirith this turn so he doesn't get that extra die. And so that he can't play Challenge of the King. So I play Grond, and I play Dread and Despair here. More for the cycle than for anything else, but obviously it's still nice that he gets to hit back less. So I get 1 hit. He gets 1 hit. Our character card has one with Sorrow and Toil, which is useless to play now, but it's actually somewhat useful as a combat card because I can cancel Aragorn, so I just play it right away. And he does Heroic Death, which is a good choice, I'd say. If you can make this, like, he's going to die anyway, if I conquer the stronghold, and if you survive Grond because he took a bunch of hits, then cheers. Okay, so I cancel Aragorn, of course, and I roll 2 hits, so that's better. And he also rolls 2 hits back. So he debated for a bit, and in the end kills Aragorn, which I think makes sense, because if you don't, then you take a regular and the other leader, and then you're down to 2 hits, and he doesn't have another heroic death to use, so I think that makes perfect sense. Like, it feels bad losing Aragorn, but what else are you going to do? So then I play Desperate Battle, and now I roll 5 hits. That would have been nicer to open with the 5 hits, but oh well. Yeah, so that army is significantly weakened anyway. Okay, so now coming into this last turn, he needs to take 3 steps, and I need to conquer Erebor and 1 city. Or a different stronghold, but probably Erebor, because I already have this big army here. So I decided to put 2 eyes in, because corruption is an issue for him, and there's lots of eyes in there. So I'm hoping that even with that 1 less die that I'm committing, I should still be able to get to 10 points, and I'm making it more likely that if he does roll enough movement to get there, more likely that he'll die anyway. So that's the reasoning behind that. And I get this roll, which I think should be enough anyway. And he rolls that, so I'm exceptionally happy about that. Just 1 movement on 5 dice it's not astronomically bad luck, but it's still bad luck for him. And that makes the odds of my success better. So he draws Mithril he draws an eye, which is also good news for me. So that's 3 damage. So obviously he loses the Hobbit, goes down to Gollum. Yeah, so I muster up an Orthanc, because with these musters, I really don't have anything better to do. There's no other mustering point that's close to a battle that matters. And, I'd rather not give away my information first about what I'm doing. And this is also an entirely reasonable other choice. So he counter musters in Helm's Deep. I muster another elite. He musters another one. I could have maybe, I'm using this 1 muster as an attack with the Mouth of Sauron, right? But yeah, I don't have any other rings, so he might use a ring this turn, but I find it unlikely, because he doesn't want to give me a ring to make those musters better. Or if he does use a ring, it'll be right at the end. So anyway, I use the Mouth ability, and I move towards both these cities at the same time, because even if he has Power of Tom Bombadil, then I can get Pelargir. Or if he moves out with this army, then I can get the Shire. So he passes, which I think makes sense. Right, I also wanted to do this movement quick before he mustered up either of them too much, because he did have those 2 musters, and now he could muster 2 elites in one of these spots. 2 elites here might beat me. That would be close anyway. I would have the advantage with leadership, but there's a world where that goes that poorly, though. But the real battle of our time is coming down to Erebor. So what do I play? I play no card first. Right, I guess I don't have the Witch King there. I don't have a character die or a ring to move him. So I decide to open with no card in the hopes that he uses his better defensive cards first. Turns out he didn't have any. All he had is this Valor to play. So I roll 3 6s, which is certainly above average. And he rolls 2 hits back. That Valor getting an extra hit there. So that helps. But that's huge for me. That's probably the game. So now I use the cards. I guess I'm using Cruel as Death first. Interesting. I don't know why I wouldn't use Swarm of Bats first. I get 2 hits. Quite lucky. 0 hits back. And I press again. I'm pressing here because I think I was worried that he had Dane, and that he was waiting for me to use Black Captain commands or something to move the Witch King over, or maybe he just hadn't noticed that I was unable to move leadership, and he was waiting until I moved leadership, and then he was going to play Dane. So after the first round went so well, I decided to press just on the unlikely chance that he had Dane. And I use, clearly, if I win this turn, there's no opportunity to play Day Without Dawn. So now I'm using it for the Relentless Assault. And I get the 1 hit. So, yeah, then he is stuck with this desperate play. Well, it's the only logical thing to do. That you need to defend both of these points. So the Grey Havens comes out to defend the Shire, and Dol Amroth comes out to defend Pelargir. I attack the Shire. I don't kill him. He runs away to Tower Hills, and he just calls it GG, because even if you retake the Shire, then I take Pelargir, and if you defend Pelargir, then I still have the Shire. So it's yeah, the 0.0000% way that he wins is if he uses that to retake the Shire and this one regular somehow defeats that army. So he says GG because, yeah, that's a 0.000 something percent odds of winning at that point. Yeah, so let's look at statistics. +4 on sixes for me, so that helps. +4 on eyes for me too, though. That was annoying. That was those 2 turns in Rovanian where I'd got nothing done. But of course, that did damage the Fellowship some more. So maybe I should be more grateful to that because that was the reason he wasn't as able to sprint last turn. So maybe I should complain less about that. But mind you, most of the corruption came from me playing those 2 cards, not really from the eyes so much. +4 on H's for him. I feel like the funnest games are always where the free people rolls a lot of H's, because that means they're going to be slower and that means they can do more to actually defend, which didn't really happen a ton this game, but he mustered Dol Amroth and Rohan well and Rivendell, so yeah. So yeah, them's the games. I'm very happy to be moving on to the semifinals. Super lucky, honestly, to be there. Like I have played well, but I feel lucky for sure because there's a lot of good players in the tournament. It's a little bit. It feels ominous for me too because last year I was excited to make it to the semifinals too, and then I lost 4 games in a row and came in 4th, which is the worst you can possibly do after making it to the semifinals. So I'm hoping to make top 3 this time, but yeah, we'll see. The Lord does as He wants. The dice can do whatever they want to me. So yeah, I'll see you next time.